Now that the summer's over.
Isn't that sad?
Well, yes and no. It's been a nice summer, and I got to see a few of the movies this summer, and I feel like you were a part of the best flick of the summer as far as Into Darkness goes.
Thank you. That's so nice to hear.
I thought it was a phenomenal movie. I really dug the way that it looked, and it came off as a good story and a good production.
Excellent.
Can you talk a little bit about, I guess, revisiting some of your story about getting involved with the picture now that it's coming out for video release?
Yeah. So I've told this story so many times, but it's such a good story, I'm going to tell it anyways.
Cool.
So I was 9 months pregnant when I got the part. It was 2 weeks before I delivered. Got a call from my manager. I had auditioned for the casting director, Alyssa Weisberg and April Webster, before they cast all of JJ's stuff. And they were looking for this part. They wanted to cast it that day. I was the very last person to go in. I was late for my audition because I was going from one end of town to the other in LA traffic. And I did my audition, and they gave me some notes and adjustments, and I went a second pass at it, and J.J. Abrams walked into my audition and saw me pregnant, acting my heart out, and we had a very brief introduction. I can't even remember what I said to him. And I left, and an hour later, the part was mine. Nice. And it was pitched to me as the part, it was supposed to bookend the film originally. It was a part that opened the film and ended the film. Of course, we didn't see the last scene. It got edited out. And I was told that I'm going to be playing a mother who has a very sick child, and my husband and I are faced with the opportunity to save her, but at a great risk to other people. Mm-hmm. And what do you do? What would you do for your family? And so we, of course, make a deal with the devil. We knew we were introducing Benedict, and my character was left to pick up the pieces, which you don't see at the end. But, so that's how it was pitched to me. I didn't know my character's name. I didn't know what I was saying, if I was saying anything. Then I get to read the script, or just my pages of the script, and I see it, and then when I get to set, JJ explains his vision to Noel and I of how he wanted the film to originally open in complete silence and like very Terrence Malick opening, and he was directing us. He had every beat of the movie figured out in his head. So he was literally directing us like on, look here, then look down, have that thought, look at your child. Like he had it, it was like a painting to him. He'd already seen it.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. It was incredible working with someone who had that level of thinking and that level of preparation. But at the same time, he was really open to anything you wanted to bring or anything you wanted to try. And, we had the luxury of time because it's like over $100 million film. So there was a lot of luxury of time. So literally each scene was a day of shooting. Just shooting it inside and out, resetting, doing the 3D pass, fix this, fix that. It was an amazing, incredibly indulgent experience in that sense.
Do you think being 9 months pregnant and having it be such a strong role as far as being a mom and being protective, do you think that helped you win the role?
Yeah, I know it did. Because at the wrap party, April and Alyssa, the casting directors, come up to me, and they told me only at the wrap party that, when you left the room, JJ was like, who is that? And they were like, oh, that's Nazneen. He goes, well, was she good? I go, oh yeah, she's great. And he looked at the tape on the camera. He didn't even wait for them to upload it. Didn't look at any of the other girls. He was like, she's the one. And April said, when JJ explained this role to us, he said that he really wanted a mother. He just wanted someone who was going to exude that fierce protectiveness of their daughter, of their family. And she said, and then you walked in, and she goes, no one was more maternal than you in that very moment. And I was like one of those women who was just all belly. Like you couldn't even tell I was pregnant from here or from behind. So it was a very easy pregnancy that way. And when I met JJ at the wrap party again, I was like, and thank you so much for casting me when I was pregnant. And he's so sweet. He's like, next to my wife, you were the most beautiful pregnant woman I've ever seen. I was like, oh, come on.
That's a perfect
You're so
answer.
nice. And yeah, he had the perfect answer for a lot of stuff.
Now, are you cognizant of what you have now become a part of as far as the Star Trek mythos goes?
I've gotten I've gotten more than a taste of it. I've sort of gotten my first experience of it with the release of the film. I did a lot of press in LA, and the Trekkies were some of the most, I was on a show called 24, and those are really serious fans.
Yeah.
I thought those fans were pretty intense.
Yeah.
They go nuts. And I'm married to, my husband was also on 24, Carlo Rota. So when they see us together in public, like when we're out for dinner, oh my God. Or like we were in Las Vegas last weekend, like the red carpet is rolled out. Because anyone who recognizes the show and recognizes us, it's amazing. Trekkies are like that to the power of 1,000.
Yeah.
They are so passionate and so hungry and so intelligent, fiercely intelligent and so savvy and so technologically aware. Like when the news was leaked, we told one media outlet that I booked the job, and everyone picked it up like a wildfire in a matter of literally hours. Like I was getting phone calls from people in London congratulating me on a role that I knew nothing about, but
Nice.
like, you know, before it even happened. So it is, so I'm kind of cognizant. I'm not really. They've been really nice though.
Yeah.
So supportive and so happy.
You're going to have to travel around with Sharpies for the rest of your life, because someone's always going to ask you for your autograph.
It's an exciting thing.
That's
That's
pretty
not a bad
cool.
thing as an actress. It's when they don't want your autograph that you should be worried.
Now, you've done some theater.
Yeah.
You've done some TV, some awesome TV, and you've been involved with some pretty awesome movies. What do you think is the best ideal acting job for yourself?
That's a good question. So I think that, first of all, I just love working. So whether it be theater, TV, film, I enjoy it so much that, you know, as long as, like, of course I'm not going to do everything and anything that's available, but as long as it's good, like, I love it. Even if it's not a great show, but I have a great part, or if it's like an okay part in a great show, I'm very happy to be involved and be a part of that. But I actually was very fortunate in my first year in LA. I had like 2 episodes off 24, and my manager got me on a multi-camera comedy called Rules of Engagement, which is done in front of a live audience. And I think that was the most perfect harmony of all mediums that you want, because you're acting, you're on stage, but you're getting that instant gratification from the audience with the laughter. And you rehearse it like a show. Like you rehearse for 1 week, and then you go, and then you do a tape segment on Tuesday, and then for them on Wednesday they'd go live. It's not really live, but you know, you do it in front of an audience. And it was absolutely exhilarating. And the network comes down and watches it, and there's a green room, and you have your dressing room, and you're kind of all horsing around in between scenes. And the beautiful thing is you do it once, and then you get direction, and they throw like a new joke at you that you've never heard before. So it's actually quite fresh, and you're keeping it kind of alive. So there's a bit of improvisation in there, and I felt like that was the best of both worlds, really. And it was, I always leave set on such a high. I really do. Like, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I feel like, you know, I've done like a mountain of cocaine. I feel like so high. But this was extraordinary. And my husband came to see one of our tapings, and he was like, "You lucky girl." Like that we both feel is the sweetest gig to get. Because you work for like 6 hours during the day, every day, Monday to Friday, and then you work one night on like 2 nights a week. It's the most coveted gig in Hollywood television, for sure. And you're performing live, and you're, you know, working with people you love. It's just, it was great.
I think a lot of people don't understand that when a movie wraps, everybody's job wraps. So you're all technically out of work and looking for something else to do. And typically, you know, you're booked into something. You know what you're going to do even when you're in the middle of filming what it is you're currently working on. So
if you're lucky.
Here we are servicing something you probably filmed a year and a half ago. I'm curious, what have you done, and what is going to be coming up for you in the future?
So I basically started shooting Star Trek when my son was really young. He was 6 weeks old. So and also, fortunately and unfortunately, this some of the things about the business. I mean, I'm not one to complain about this, but it did affect my years. They did something with Star Trek, and they basically put me in what they call first position for almost 4 months. So that means that they could call me they paid me for every single day, but I wasn't working every single day. But they were in first position, so they had that preference to call me in for whether it was a fitting or a still photography shoot or anything. And that was right at the time of pilot season. And we discussed this with my representation, and they were like, well, you know, this is how much money you're going to make doing Star Trek, this is how much money you make doing a pilot, but this is going to be, this is going to lead to other things. So I actually got like 4 series offers that I couldn't do. Oh, man. I know. I couldn't believe it. and the reason I couldn't do them is because either they shot out of LA, or one of the days conflicted with one of the days I was definitely booked to shoot,
Yeah.
or the travel days would conflict, and all of them went to series too. It sucked, but it was very exciting to have that kind of heat and attention. So
Right.
that was a little bit of a little bit of a letdown, because I did have to wait a whole year for the movie to come out.
Yes.
But then in the summer I came here, I shot a series called 13.
Okay.
That was in its last season. I did an episode of Last Resort out in Hawaii, which was actually the series that I was offered a regular role on, but
Yeah.
couldn't do. And then they very generously offered me a guest star to come back. And then I had another really exciting pilot season, but unfortunately my pilot didn't go. And now I'm shooting. Next week I start shooting reshoots on, which is also something that happens in films a lot, on an independent film called Parts Per Billion,
Okay.
starring Rosario Dawson, Frank Langella, and Josh Lucas.
Nice.
Yeah, so that'll be Monday. That's Monday's work.
Cool. In regards to the film, I don't want to give any spoilers away, just in case people
right.
haven't checked it out. But you have an integral part at the beginning of the film, as you discussed, seeding in the storyline of the overall movie. Do you think that scene is going to show up on the DVD and Blu-ray release? The kind of the wrap up you were talking to
I hope
earlier?
so. I mean, JJ kind of mentioned it to me at the premiere, but I don't know whether he was joking. I mean, there were a lot of people there.
I think a lot of people shoot for that now, so
Yeah.
they know
So,
it's going to come out.
I think that I'm hoping that a lot of the stuff that we shot together, Nola and I, at the beginning of the film, like we shot 30 or 40% more of stuff that didn't make it in. I hope some of that is in. I understand why it was taken out, but I hope some of that is in, and I also hope that the end scene is in, because it does kind of tie up that whole storyline, and the blood that saved my daughter is the blood that saves
Yeah.
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
So it actually would, and a lot of like rabid fans who I happen to, who have come out of the woodwork after this film was released that I see in my daily life, like the guy I go to Starbucks at and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He asked me, he's like, so what's up with your kid? Like, now do you and like Chris Pine's kid, do they have like superhuman race now because they have,
Yeah.
are they superhumans? I'm like, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Those are things that totally need to be addressed. But I think the last scene that we shot kind of at least acknowledges it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it'll be in there. I don't know. I just got my DVD. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Awesome.
Find out.
Have you seen the film like cut full since you acted in it? Did you go to a premiere?
Yeah, I
or
went to
anything
the
and watch
LA
it out?
premiere, and then I went to see it with all my friends at the ArcLight in Hollywood as well,
Right
which
on.
was really cool.
Awesome.